Hey, kia ora whānau, welcome back to Kaitaki Marakai Backyard Gardens, Mahinga Kai. I was out at Tautoro today, here in the far north Kaikohe, and had a hui with Mitai and his wife on their Mahinga Kai, and they gifted us ko iwi and Kumara tupu. So we've got about 80 here. What I've actually done in preparation for tomorrow, if the weather's fine, is I've split up my tupu into groups of 5, but I'm actually putting them in groups of 10, roll them in bundles like this, groups of 5s, rolling them up in bundles that make up 10. So for example, I'll put this one in here, trying to do it with one hand, and the wind is blowing, crazy weather we've been having, so I'll just put it in here, fold that around, roll that around, and all I'm doing is a bit of moisture to keep them ready for tomorrow. Next one, I'll just put these ones, sorry whānau, all by hand. This is just then I'll just, no flash reel thing, just rolling it, roll. So I now have 10, 20, 30, 10, 20, 40, hang on, I've got 80. So I went from 5 into 10s, and then I got 2 lots of 10s, so 20, 40, 60, 80. Yeah, I'll just Confucius myself. Yep, so each bundle is 20 tupu, and what I'm doing is just storing them in here for water, so at the other end they're ready for me just to start packing in to. So I'll just, and I'll I'm just trying to keep them moist so that they're not going to get shocked too much. However, we grew, Matua Mitai grew these in a tāpapa, and we were picking them out, and he gave us some. So they're getting a little bit saggy, so I'm just going to try to keep them in the water. But there's 80 in there, a little bit extra, I've got 5 extra. And then this one over here, which I'm going to lay in the ground over here. So when I see it, I'm going to lay it down and just have the shoot like this. So each node, Kumara comes off. That's the plan. But I'll plant this one on our section over here. But I'll put this in the water just to keep it kaupoi. So we've got a Kumara tupu, and remember last year, here was my original tāpapa. I was growing them in my little container here. Could do the same thing, just pull them off. That's how I started last year's lot that I grew over here. And then this year, here is my tāpapa. So yeah, we could plant those out. I put one over here, and that one's tacky. That's growing. So ideally, wanted to. He's a little bit too young. I might see if I can pull one off, just to show you. So, just going along in here. And there, the way I plant it is I'll be putting it in the soil. So let's try to do this as an example. So if this mound here, if there was a mound of soil on there, I'd grab it and I'm putting it in the soil, with the idea being is I'm wanting to loop it like our logo, our tupu logo, tupu, in the ground like that. And so effectively, if you take my 2 top fingers is above the soil, the leaves, and underneath I've planted it like that. So our kumara grows in the soil and the leaves at the top. Better. Looking like that. East-west. Okay, but the key part is making this loop, little loop underneath of the soil. But that's tāpapa, traditional way of growing kumara shoots. There's a lot of places around that are doing that at the moment. One of the things that I learned here that I could have put kind of a glass house plastic just to raise the temperature a bit to bring this along a bit quicker, but it's okay. I've got these here, which means I can actually as they get bigger I can just keep planting them out, and I'll know next year, because I think it was a bit too cool along here, wasn't warming the soil up quick enough, so I might make a tunnel, put plastic over the top, and then they just start that a bit earlier. But yeah, eventually I'm going to have all the way down here as my tāpapa growing space for my kumara tupu. Alright, I'm going to probably plant this, so where should I try it? Now I know I've seen them do growing Pākehā potatoes or just normal potatoes with kumara, but I don't want to mix them per se. So what I'll do is I'll just show you over here. Just gonna loose up the soil a bit. So what I'm doing here is coming in into the soil, going down. You see the little heads here sticking up there? So I have a little loop underneath. Normally you would have a mound. I haven't got a mound for this particular time, but the principle, you've got it. So the loop is just in here. As I've gone down, I've made it curl up like that, and then the foliage is sitting on top. But ideally you'd go along and make your mounds or trenches, mound up like you do with similar with potatoes. Yeah, we'll just see how that goes. But that one over I did on the other side, over there, is taken. So I'll just put one in here. And really, what eventually will happen is runners will come off, and those runners, you can do the same thing. You cut them off and you can use them as other areas for planting out other kumara. But yeah, so principle, these are kumara that I had from last year, saved those over winter, planted them out, and every shoot, every single tupu that comes up eventually becomes a single plant, stationary plant area where I can plant out my kumara. So when we're talking about tino rangatiratanga and mana motuhake, here is an example of it. You do not need the government or any other authority to tell you have it. Just like the recent King Tuheitia said, just being Māori is an act of defiance or act of tino rangatiratanga. Well, getting in the garden and cooking your own kai, understanding the whakapapa of your tupu or your tubulas. Yeah, this was from last year that grew here, and now I'm growing them for next year. Just keep doing the same, saving the seeds. Each one of these is kai. We plant them out, and you just keep the cycle going. You know, sow into people's lives. You're sowing good stuff. You're sowing reconciliation. You're sowing, you know, health and well-being, transformation, empowerment, and then you activate it, giving people the skills to grow their own kai. Hei ana, that's what we're doing. Hoi ana, mena he pai ana te rā popo, hei te wā ka haere au ki mātua, mai te te kaukaraka tai atu ki te rānui. Ka noho au i runga i te mahinga kai, i runga a mātua. Haere mai whānau, whakatohi ai ngā Kumara tupu me ngā kōiwi. Ngā Kumara tupu me ngā kōiwi. Come and join us and we'll have a talk about what we're doing on our papakainga regards to mahinga kai. Okay then, click the like button, click the share button, and if you want to come and support us in our mahi, come and join us up north or any other ways, kohas, just give us a buzz, and we'd love to have your support. Yeah, alright then, hei kona.